When I met with Frida, and I knew the Stuves very well, we had a common theme, and that was, how do we educate leaders for tomorrow's Puerto Rico? I mean, that's a heck of a mission, and one that we need very badly. In fact, the whole world needs leadership. Without leadership, you go nowhere. So I had been with TASIS for 30 years at that time. I had worked with Mrs. Fleming, our founder, who was a visionary, much like Frida. I had a challenge to convince the foundation, but I had to convince them that Puerto Rico was a potential site for a TASIS school that would be successful. Mrs. Fleming was a risk taker, and when I went to Mrs. Fleming, I said, Mrs. Fleming, I'm not getting any support from the board. And I said, the Stewart family don't want money, they want expertise, they want knowledge, they want educators. And she said, Fernando, don't pay attention to what the board says. You do what's in your heart. And if I was 20 years younger, she was 92 at the time, she said, I do it with you. She was a very knowledgeable and very forward-looking woman. And I think that she gave me the impetus to go back to the foundation and said, listen, Mrs. Fleming, our founder, agrees and supports this idea. And I said, I'm going to do it. And I'll do it with TASIS or I'll do it without TASIS. But I think it's in the interest of TASIS to do this together. And sure enough, they agreed that as long as I didn't leave TASIS and come back to Puerto Rico, that I would be supported. And so we reached this agreement, and Frida never believes in putting anything in writing. It's all about a handshake. And a relationship. And so we didn't have any contract. And I kept going back to TASIS, and they said, don't we have a contract? I said, no, we're just going ahead. We're building this school, and we're going to do this on a handshake. And they just didn't understand that concept.
What he was talking about, love and faith. You can put any paper you want. If there's no love and faith and belief and goodwill, no matter the paper you do, it's not going to work. So I learned that from the farming days, from my old ways, where that's the best contract is a handshake, because you have to make it work.
I think the key to a good school starts with leadership, and the right leadership makes everything else fall into place. And with Louis Christensen, who was my roommate at Harvard, and Maritere, my sister, I saw the dream team. And with my experience with TASIS in Europe, it was clear that we would create such a strong leadership team that would start a new school and lead it into new heights.
The first person who spoke to me about TASIS Dorado was my brother Fernando. He had been working with the TASIS schools for many years, and his dream was to bring a TASIS school to Puerto Rico. Then I received the visit of Priscilla Estuve and talked to me about the idea. We spoke a lot, and I would say the turning point was when we drove to Dorado. On the way, we talked about the school that we would like to form. And when we got to the campus and we parked, it was just shells, it was just walls. But I realized how beautiful it was going to be. And Louis turns, looks at me, and he says, do you really not want to be part of this? And of course, yes, I accepted.
Louis Christensen was a key member of our team starting the school. He was a close friend and a roommate at Harvard when we were in graduate schools. I had to work hard to convince him because he had left education, had been in private business, and was retired. And he said he didn't want to have to work with families, with boards, and with teachers. I said, that doesn't leave much in a school like TASIS, which demands constant attention and constant involvement from its administration. So Louis said he would give me 3 to 5 years to start the school. He gave me 15. I couldn't ask more from a friend and a colleague to start a school the way he did and set the tenure of the direction the school was going to go into. The other key member of our team was Maritere Matos Santos. She had that incredible dimension of wanting to be and know students, that element of nurturing and loving our students that Mrs. Fleming believes so strongly in. And she was key and complemented Louis perfectly in this dream team that I talked about.
It was a very nice experience because, of course, Fernando was a great educator. So the three of them created TASIS.